All right, I have a couple of viewers here. What's going on? Um, Give me 1 second. All right, hold on. Had to shut the door there. I have 2 comments already. Let me see who this is. Herbert, what's going on? Herb, I'm glad you could show up for this one. No, I appreciate it. I understand, man. I understand. It was cool. I got that Michigan live stream done barely as I described, as I will describe. I was literally losing my voice during that one. So, but I'll describe why. Let me make an announcement over on the original Big Discussion 76 channel. Then I'll go ahead and get started. Hold on. All right, let me switch back over to my channel so I can watch the data in real time. Okay, so I could see that YouTube has put the little disclaimer on this stream. So I'm going to try to be a little bit careful about what I talk about here. But at this point, it is what it is. Guys, I'm going to play the intro since I am cammed up for this one. I'm going to play the intro and then I'll get to what I want to discuss on the other side. So I'll see you in about 2 minutes. I think it's 2 minutes. All right. Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Dr. Anwar Youssef Dunbar, and this is Big Discussions 76, Science and Technology. First of all, please like this stream, please share it, and please subscribe to my channel. Um, well, guys, okay, with this stream, I might talk in code a little bit in bits and pieces, depending upon how things go. I want to make an announcement to YouTube. This is for educational purposes only. This is for educational purposes only. This is not to refute the science or refute the WHO or the CDC. Speaking of the CDC, let me pull this up. For those of you who don't know, Big Discussions 76, Science and Technology was temporarily removed back in, I think, the spring. One, I re-uploaded a little discussion, part of a discussion with me and Nicole Ali, where we were talking about the differences in the pharmacodynamics of the jabs at that time. And the YouTube algorithm or whoever saw that didn't like it and took that little snippet down probably within 10 minutes of me putting that up. And that's when I realized, wow, that little snippet, they're watching that pretty hard. And then I said, okay, well, I can't talk about that, so I'll talk about something else. So I went over to my blogging platform. And since I branded this channel Science and Technology, I said, let me talk about something technology related. And I think it had something to do with cryptocurrency. I was trying to talk about the science behind cryptocurrency, and midstream, I was getting an error message in the chat. I was trying to post a link to the chat, and there was an error message. And then when I went over to YouTube, it was completely gone. So whatever it was I was talking about, YouTube took it down, the entire channel. So fortunately, they were gracious enough to reinstate the channel and all of my data. And so, but I think people are talking about this, and this is what's happening. This is what I'm going to share is real. So I don't know why this would be taken down. So YouTube, this is for educational purposes, and this is just a science education discussion. So here we go. So guys, I don't have a super chat here. So I'm gonna, if you're feeling gracious enough, if you have a couple pennies left and you want to make a donation to the channel, I'm gonna leave my Cash App and PayPal in the chat. I have some things I want to say. I'm gonna read 2 articles, and if anyone wants to come up and say something afterwards, you're welcome to do so. I'll allow you to do that. But the business is on right now, so I might try to keep this to about an hour. So fortunately, I have my voice. I lost my voice about 2 nights ago. For those of you who don't know, Herbert Lewis is here in the chat. He and Herbert Lewis, the big bad wolf, and the controversial counselor David Lorenzo Glover, they have a compelling show every Monday night, the Counselor's Corner. This last Monday, it got pretty live. And I usually, if I'm watching and I'm available, I share their content. I share the stream over on my original channel so they can get more numbers and more support, because they're talking about some important stuff, and they're Western New York guys just like me. So I try to support them. I had intended to go up, but I was having some health things going on. So I just decided to play hype man from right there in the chat. So as you can see, I'm still here in Western New York. I think this is my brother's old bedroom in my mother's house. And I had planned to get out of here by now. I was supposed to go to the Peach State. I was supposed to go to Atlanta last night. But something happened. Well, based upon what's going on now, I wouldn't say that it's unforeseen, but yeah, um, something happened. I got a little bit ill on Saturday. Let me take a sip of my drink here. Hold on. One second. All right, so I got a little bit ill on Christmas Day, of all days. Um, Slept pretty good Friday night, and then woke up on Christmas Day, felt all right, and then I started to feel a little sluggish. And then as the day went on, I started to feel chills and started to feel unlike myself. And some of the symptoms were cold like, some of them were flu like. I didn't develop a fever. I just remember being cold and just having the shivers and just being chilly. And it got to the point where I had to put a hat on and I was gulping down tea. It was a small group: my mother, my brother, and his lady. And I got sick on Christmas Day. And as you know, with what's been going on in the news, at some point I says, "Uh oh, I hope I hope this isn't what's on the news," because number one, I don't want to make everybody else here sick, and number two, I'm supposed to go somewhere in the middle of next week. So, um, it turns out my mom keeps the house a little bit colder than what I'm used to. So there's a vent in my bedroom. So we opened that up Sunday night. It was warmer on Sunday night, so I slept a little better. Still felt a little tired on Sunday. Didn't go to church with my mother. Normally, when I come home, I go to church with my mother. Didn't go to church with my mother this time. Stayed home. She invited a guest over, and I was okay. And then on Monday, still a little sluggish, but I could feel something moving up through my respiratory tract, and it was um, cold, like, like maybe you had like a sore throat, or maybe you had like just some kind of flu moving through you. And then I decided, you know what? Because I hadn't done it yet. All of you know I'd gotten vaccinated. Well, I'll go ahead and say it. I got immunized. I got immunized back in May. I got the J&J immunization. And before going on the holiday break, me and my plus one were talking about getting boosters. We didn't do it, but I decided, you know what? Since I'm going somewhere on Wednesday, I better go ahead and get a booster. So I went to, this is Sunday night. I couldn't get one on Monday. The earliest I was able to get one was on Tuesday. So I made a reservation at Target in Depew. Herb knows where Depew is. That's a suburb of Buffalo. And I went to Depew, got my I think it was the Moderna booster. My arm's still a little bit sore here. I was going to get the flu shot as well, but my insurance wouldn't cover me in New York State, so I probably have to go back to Virginia to get that. And then I got on the phone with my plus one. I told her, hey, I got the booster. Of course, she called me right back. What's going on? And she could hear my voice wasn't right. And I said, I have to be honest with you. And I'm glad I did this because if I'd gone to the gathering, with other people there and they didn't know that I was feeling some kind of way and I wasn't feeling 100% and I'd been battling something over the previous couple of days, that could have been bad. That could have hurt our relationship, and it could have hurt my relationship with the other people there. So at the end of the day, it's best that I came out and let her know what was going on. I told the truth. So she says, well, your flight leaves tomorrow evening. Why don't you get a self-test just to make sure? Just to make sure, just so you know, just so we know nothing's going on. So Target said we're all out of them. So why don't you come back first thing in the morning, and we're going to restock our shelves first thing in the morning, and you'll get your test then. So now I'm thinking, okay, my day tomorrow just got way more complicated. Now I have to get up, go get this self test, bring it back to the house, test myself, wait for the 2 red lines to show up. Well, hopefully wait for the 1 red line to show up and then not the second red line. But if it's if it's positive, I can't go on my trip. So now I was going to this gathering, and now I don't know if I'm going to this gathering. I'm rolling around at night thinking about this test. And, the last part of my holiday trip is potentially going to get turned upside down. So I get up early. Hey, everyone, please hit the like when you come in. If you want to make a donation to the channel, my Cash App is there and PayPal is there. I'll drop it again. I'm sure you all have probably bought gifts, and your wallets are probably, blown away at this point, but it is what it is. So I get up, go to Target, and wouldn't you know it, they don't have the test. They don't know when they're coming in. They don't know when they're going to get a new batch. They told me that the one on Niagara Falls Boulevard, Herbert Lewis knows where that is, the Target on Niagara Falls Boulevard. They have one left, so you might want to call ahead and see if they'll hold it for you. So I said, you know what? It's early in the morning. I'll just drive over there. I drove over there to that Target. They didn't have one. And then I gradually made my way back to my mother's house here. And I stopped at a couple of drugstores. Rite Aid didn't have one. I think another CVS didn't have one. I think another Walgreens didn't have one. So I'm thinking, okay, I'm driving around. Okay, how am I gonna get a conclusive answer for this thing? I want to fly out tonight and go to this event with my +1 tonight. What am I going to do? And then I said, oh, why don't I find one of those same day drive up things? So I'm on my phone like this. I'm like, 15-minute antigen test, get your answer the same within 15 minutes or same 30 minutes, whatever. And I found this place on Millersport Highway. Herb Lewis knows where that is, near UB, the University of Buffalo. And I go over there, and there's this long line of cars, people wanting to get tested for this thing, for the bug. So I get in line, and it's like a car wash, and the people are walking by with their pads, their digital pads, and they're taking your information, and it was a $65 charge. And you drive up. They give you 2 tags with your name and a QR code. They take the swab, do 5 circles in one nostril, 5 circles in the other nostril, and then they drop it in the vial, and they say we'll contact you in about 15 minutes. So now this is it. Do I get to go finish off my trip, or am I stuck here in Buffalo for another couple of days? So I get back here, I'm sitting down, opening up my work computer, and then all of a sudden I get this alert on my phone, and I'm like, it's them. So I hit the link, download the PDF, and I got the thumbnail for this live stream. It said SARS-CoV-2 detected in red letters. So I was like, now I can't go to Atlanta. Now I can't go to the gathering, and it was tough because we've been planning this, and I hadn't seen my +1 for 2 weeks, and I was ready to go. I was ready to go somewhere. Of course, leaving your mother's hard. I was dealing with those feelings as well, but I was ready to go. And so then I had to call my plus one and say, all right, this is what happened. I'm not coming, and then so I had to just for most of the day, it was just sinking in. It was sinking in. It was sinking in. You're not going to Atlanta. You're not going to Atlanta. You're not going to Atlanta. So I had to go online on Delta of all airlines. I had to go on Delta and cancel the flight, get a little turn that money into travel funds, and then 6:30 came around, 6:40 when my flight was supposed to take off. Well, actually, it did take off, but just without me. 9 o'clock came. I was here. I was thinking, wow, that flight is landing in Atlanta right now, and I'm here. And so that's why I'm here. So I'm doing this stream, and I was thinking about doing this last night. I saw Edward and all the other guys on, and I was thinking, you know what, I have nothing but time now, so let's do a stream on this. So that's why I'm here, guys. So Grandma says, Herb says, Herb says, 5 stages of grief. That's right, man. That's right. Yeah, yeah. Grandma says, real, so sorry. How long have you been sick? Well, here's the thing. So a number of things, like when this happens, the way this happened to me, a lot of things go through your mind. You say to yourself, okay, well, how did this happen? Where did this come from? how could this happen to me? But then you look back and you realize, okay, well, this new variant. It seems to be more contagious, and a lot of people are getting it. I'm not on a ventilator or anything, so that's a positive. I'm not, knock on wood, I'm not about to keel over and pass away in front of you guys right here. But I got sick. You know what, Grandma? I felt a little tired last Friday. I remember that. And then Saturday, it see, when I think of cold, I think of a congested, runny nose, and you're always blowing your nose and that kind of thing. But this was more chill. I felt cold. I felt the chills. I felt my throat felt a little unhappy. And I remember I just felt cold and shivery. And I've had the flu before, but this one just kind of came seemingly out of nowhere. So to answer your question, when something like this happens, you also start to go back and say, okay, where might I have gotten the thing from? I did. My entire trip was planned out around going to Atlanta at the end. So I had to take the train up to see my father in Albany. That's about a 7-hour ride, 3.5 hours to New York City, and then another 2.5 hours north to Albany. So you're on a train with all these people. Then we went to go see Spider-Man: No Way Home on a Friday night. The theater was packed. Then I took the train from the Albany area out to Buffalo. That's about a 5-hour ride. The train was packed when I got on the train in Albany. I was in and out of the gym here in Buffalo last week. I know that I went to the mall Thursday night. I was at the Walton Galleria. Herbert Lewis knows where that is. Getting a couple things. There were people all over the place. I went into P.F. Chang's to get some dinner. And then I went over my brother's spot and hung out with him and his downstairs neighbor. And some of his buddies. We were all unmasked. So that could have been a place. And I was at the gym early Friday, because the gym closed at noon on Friday. So it could have been any number of places where I got it. But I think the point is that I got it. And you also wonder, okay, you kind of go back and say maybe I should have just stayed in all of last week. Oh, we also had a little get together. Um, Me and some of the other members of my high school class, we had to get together last Tuesday. So maybe I was a little bit too liberal with some things. Um, Going to the gym, going to that get together. Um, my brother's roommate and all of his buddies, all going to the mall, going to PF Chang's. You know, it could have been any number of places, but you know what? Roger says you still look strong as an ox. Thank you, Roger. I do feel better now. I do feel better. My voice, I started to feel a little bit scratchy probably about 20 minutes ago, but in general, I feel better now. So I think the bulk of it is behind me. So, and I just want to say I was vaxxed. I'm sorry. I got immunized in May, and I just took another booster about 2 days ago. So this may have been different for someone who hadn't done that, but I just want to say I'm fine. I'm still here. I'm alive. So, Roger, Roger says, so basically you're saying you were kicking it around a lot of sick people. You know what, Roger? That's a good question because you don't really know. You don't really know. I mean, if you're looking at me right now, would you say that I was sick? Would you know? People are going in and out of stores. People are going in and out of the gym. People are doing all kinds of things. People are in the bar. How do you know? Hostile Adept says my son had it. I just had a head cold. I'm vaccinated with the Pfizer vaccine. Okay. I'm gonna take a let me check my notes here. Yeah, getting tested is interesting. It's I did do one probably about 2 to 3 weeks ago. Me and my plus one did one at Rite Aid, came back negative. But when you're sick and you have symptoms, that's when you really say to yourself, okay, I think I'm gonna have it this time. This is gonna come back positive. Um, but I was really before I went looking for the home test, the home kit. I did watch a couple of YouTube videos on it the night before, and I did see how it worked, and I said, oh my god, that's going to be very very stressful to sit there and watch the thing do its thing for 15 minutes. That's going to be very stressful. So I'm glad I didn't have to do that because, well, it probably would have been too much just watching that whole thing go. Herbert Lewis says, do you think the CDC's changing of the quarantine period is going to help or hurt the spread? You know what? I brought that up. Let me see, because I've been asking myself, okay, how long do I need to stay locked up in here? I had this handy on my phone. Let's see, CDC. And you know what? What I realized, a lot of this is up to interpretation. And I'm going to explain what that means. Let's see. I'm going to read this first paragraph. I'm going to enable my screen share. Yeah, if you have time to kill, just come on to YouTube and tell your story. Bare your soul on the altar. That's what I decided to do. Given what we currently know about C19, I'm going to speak in code here. and the Omicron variant, CDC is shortening the recommended time for isolation for the public. People with C19 should isolate for 5 days, and if they are asymptomatic or their symptoms are resolving without fever for 24 hours, follow that by 5 days of wearing a mask when around others to minimize risk of infecting people they encounter. Let me read that again. People with C19 should isolate for 5 days, and if they are asymptomatic or their symptoms are resolving without fever for 24 hours, follow that by 5 days of wearing a mask when around others to minimize the risk of infecting they encounter. So I'm interpreting that as, and I could be wrong, when you're asymptomatic, when you get to the point where you're asymptomatic or your symptoms are resolving, for 5 days you have to wear a mask when around others. So that's telling me you can start to go back out. YouTube, this is for teaching purposes only. This is for teaching. This is for education. I'm not teaching. This is for education purposes only. So you guys are still talking to me, so they haven't cut this. Grandma asks, do you have a fever? No, I don't. No, not at all. That's how Grandma has interpreted it as well. So this is very much just, yeah, this is, seems like there are numerous ways to interpret this. I'm not going to read this. There's too much to read here. And plus there are 2 articles I want to read, but that's kind of where I am right now, guys. I'm going to read these 2 articles, and then if anyone wants to come up and say something, I'll allow that. If not, I'll shut down. But thank you guys for all hanging out in here. You know, the news for this thing is coming out like bullets, literally like bullets. And so I told you that I got the booster I got was the Moderna booster, I believe. And so that means my first. So that means I got an adenovirus that immunization in May. And now I have mRNA swimming around inside me right now. And the reason I did that is because as I was reading that the Food and Drug Administration has thrown most of their weight behind the Pfizer and the Moderna, and the J&J is hard to get. Now, I'm about to read an article that basically says that there's data showing that the J&J immunization is still okay. So let me enable my screen share here. Thank you all for being out here watching this. Thank you to Roger for sharing it. Please let me know. Keep your questions and comments coming in the chat there. If you want to make a Cash App or PayPal donation, that information is there. I don't have a super chat over here yet because I don't have enough watch hours. Anyhow, this article was sent to my smartphone. This was just published this morning. 2 doses of Johnson & Johnson's C19 vaccine, 85% effective against hospitalizations, South Africa study shows. As long as you guys are still commenting, I know the stream is still going and is still transmitting over to YouTube. So this reads as follows. J&J also found its immunization likely works as a booster for those who got Pfizer. So you can mix an adenovirus immunization with an mRNA immunization. Wow. A real-world study of South African health care workers found that 2 doses of the Johnson & Johnson C19 immunization offers 85% protection against hospitalization from the Omicron variant. 85%. That's good. Separately, the company announced new data from a laboratory study that shows its immunization likely also works well as a booster for people who got the Pfizer shots originally. Using the J&J immunization as a booster raised people's antibodies and T cells to levels higher than those seen among people who got a third dose of Pfizer, according to samples taken 4 weeks after each booster. The new data adds weight to the argument that mixing and matching vaccine types could be an effective strategy, but the data is unlimited because it was a laboratory study, not real world data. The new findings were described in a press release and submitted to preprint journals. As the Omicron variant has mutated from the original SARS-CoV-2 strain, there is a need to understand how effectively current authorized C19 immunizations remain at protecting against severe disease. Dr. Dan Baroque, PhD, Director for the Center of Virology and Vaccine Research at BIDMC, said in a statement, "Our analysis shows that a booster shot of the Johnson & Johnson C19 immunization generated a robust increase in both neutralizing antibodies and T cells to Omicron." I still have a little bit of a cough. Where were we? Since its launch, the single J&J immunization has been dogged by perception that it is less effective than Pfizer or Moderna's. And indeed, many experts agree that one dose of J&J isn't as effective as 2 shots from the other brands. But when given as 2 doses, the J&J shot seems to be an effective immunization. That's interesting. Why hasn't anyone thought of this already? Or maybe they already knew. Maybe Johnson & Johnson already knew. I don't know. Who knows? Who's telling us the truth these days? While one dose to prevent COVID was always desirable to improve vaccine, I keep saying it. While one dose to prevent COVID was always desirable to improve immunization access and acceptance, we now have irrefutable evidence that 2 doses provides significantly more protection, said John Brownstein, PhD, Chief Innovation Officer at Boston Children's Hospital and ABC News contributor. The second dose triggers the immune system to produce antibodies and memory cells that ultimately yield longer-term vaccine effectiveness. Earlier this month, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention recommended that anyone considering getting immunized should get the Pfizer and Moderna immunizations, if possible, over the J&J single-shot immunization. This isn't because the single-shot J&J immunization, which has been associated with a risk of very rare blood clots, isn't as safe and effective, CDC researchers said, but because the Pfizer and Moderna 2-shot vaccines immunizations appear to work even better. Collectively, this means the risk-benefit analysis is more favorable for the Pfizer and Moderna immunizations, the CDC said. Okay. If I were Johnson & Johnson, I'd be upset about getting all this negative pub over my medication. So that's one article. I want to thank MLR for the Cash App. Much appreciated. I thought I had done the last live stream on this channel for the year, but you never know. I'm going to read some of your comments here, and then I'm going to read the second article, and then I'll get close to wrapping this up. Let's see. Ruminant Melanoid says, I don't have a fever, but I didn't have one when I had the original version. Grandma says, I'm not vaxxed. My sister is. I think everybody should follow their own desires and recommendations. Agree. My son was not even sick with the first one. He had 14 days off work to go fishing. South Africa has produced excellent research. Too bad the US seems to ignore it. Yes, trust, exactly. Watch the update every day from a doctor on YouTube. Is Grandma, is he the older British man? I found a but I think he's based yeah, I think he's based in the UK. He's either based in the UK or he's based in South Africa. But in the during for the playback, I'm gonna leave one of his videos below in the playback for this stream. Herbert Lewis says greed, trust, divine mercy says grandma, yes, lol. He tells it like it is, trustworthy. If grandma, if you have his exact name, so we can spread good information, please leave that in the chat. I'm not even worried anymore, but I don't have to be at work either. I'm totally against the mandate too. Trust it is, Dr. John. Watch too. Campbell. Thank you, extended clips. Grandma says you missed us. Herbert Lewis says can't sue either. They're saddled with the situation as is. I assume you're talking about the FDA. Trust Divine Mercy says yes since the very beginning, but also this channel. Thank you very much. I love Dr. Campbell. Today's update was good. Okay. Information. There's so much information. Trust Divine Mercy. Yes, Campbell is in the UK. Dr. John Campbell. Extended clip says, oh, it's my PayPal as well. Let's see. Oh, this is very kind. Trust Divine Mercy. Very kind. But I stopped talking about this back in the spring because they took my channel down. So I think it's the holiday season. I think there's so much out there now. Maybe they've maybe YouTube is relaxing a little bit. Herbert Lewis says Johnson & Johnson with bad publicity. Yeah, wasn't there an issue with their baby powder and cancer? You know. Grandma says the corporations are exempt from suing. Shonda H is here. Great info. Dr. John Campbell in the UK. I think that's the guy. Yep. It's a great resource on COVID internationally. He's a retired nursing professor. That's the guy that I saw. Shonda, pretty lively night over there in Charles's chat on what was that, Monday night, Tuesday night? Speaking of which, I want to read the second article. We're at 45 minutes. You know what, guys? I thanked my mother a little earlier. I don't think she'll mind me saying this. She's feeling a little sick herself. Of course, then the question is, did I bring it in the house? My mother tested negative this morning. So she got up first thing in the morning and she went to go get tested. She got a negative result, fortunately for her. But I thanked her around dinner time. I ran out and got us some Subway subs. I thanked her for letting me stay a few more days instead of kicking me out. I think some parents might have said, you know what, you got to get out of here. So I would have had to have gone back to, I would either have had to go back to DC and sit in my place by myself. Maybe my brother would have let me stay. I don't know. But I thanked her for letting me stay because a lot of relatives would have been like, you got to get out of here with that. So the second article deals with symptoms from this new variant. This is short. Yeah, Shelby. Yeah. I mean, grandma. Out of respect, I'm gonna call you grandma. Yeah, she made some oatmeal this morning. Made me a little omelet. A little omelet last night. So yeah, she's a good one. Uh, okay, we're not going to take away from the subject matter, Shonda, with this, but yeah, I'm still very shocked by the statements that were expressed, but it's okay. Yeah. Okay. So this article is entitled "3 Omicron Variant Symptoms You Won't Get from the Common Cold." Yeah, so there's a lot of talk with this one. I guess there's overlap with cold symptoms and symptoms unique to this variant. So that's in the news a lot now. So this reads as follows. And this was published yesterday. There's been a lot of talk about how the Omicron variant of the coronavirus resembles the common cold, raising questions about how to tell the difference between them. But it appears 3 Omicron symptoms often don't show up with the common cold. Dr. Hai Shao, the infectious disease physician with Sharp Chula Vista Medical Center in San Diego, recently told CBS 8 that the Omicron variant often has symptoms similar to other C19 strains. Okay, you guys are still chatting me over there, so I know that my YouTube channel is still live. Jay Bones has entered the building. Welcome, Jay Bones. They include fever, chills. Remember I told you on Saturday I had some chills? And yeah, a slight headache, not a migraine, but just a slight headache, chills, sore throat. And lost my voice a couple days ago. And as it progresses, people will start having cough, shortness of breath, and difficulty breathing. Fortunately, I didn't experience difficulty breathing, and that was one thing I was looking out for: difficulty breathing. But Chow said there are 3 COVID-19 C19 symptoms you'll see with the Omicron variant that you won't see with the common cold. A unique feature of C19 is a loss of smell and taste. I haven't experienced that, which you will not find in common cold viruses, Shao told CBS 8. The other thing is that a common cold tends not to give a high fever and sometimes severe headaches, with which Omicron is reporting these symptoms as predominant. I didn't experience high fever, mild headaches days ago. If you do have those symptoms, it is much more concerning that you may have gotten COVID than the common cold virus. Okay, this is still going. This comes as researchers have found that the common cold and the Omicron variant have similar symptoms overall. Per Reuters, the Omicron variant most likely acquired a specific mutation from a snippet of genetic material found in the common cold, which means the Omicron variant may in part be like the common cold. That said, early lab work suggests the Omicron variant can evade vaccines, boosters, and natural immunity, which might put people more at risk for being infected with the coronavirus, as I wrote for the Desert News. Experts still recommend getting immunized and boosted against C19 to stay safe. Okay, so much information out there. Not all of it agrees. All right, that's 50 minutes. That's all I've got. If anyone, it's almost 9:30. If anyone wants to come up and say a few words, I'll drop the link right now. You don't have to. I'll do one more. Commander Gord, thank you. If anyone wants to make a donation, I don't have a super chat over here. I'll drop the link. That's my Cash App and PayPal right there. If anyone wants to come up and say a few words, maybe you had this yourself. Maybe not. Maybe someone you know did. maybe something I said resonated with you. Maybe something I said didn't. But you know what? Yeah, the last part of my trip has been turned on its head. Well, I should be able to watch the Michigan football game tomorrow. I'm looking forward to that. But looking around, a lot of people have either canceled their travel plans or um, they've had to revise their travel plans. There are a lot of people getting sick, a lot of people catching this thing. Um, and there was one other thing I was going to say. This could happen to anyone, if you're not careful, you could get a positive, and you just gotta be careful out there. So I have two guests. I got Chaos Rain and I have the Big Bad Wolf. So let's see what they have to say.
Hello. That's good. I'm good. So a new type of variant that's out here that's spread like wildfire. For those who already got their shots and the boosters is some more mutation that people got to take more advanced boosters. I'm trying to follow the deal here with this one.
That's my question. So you're asking a question?
Yes. Yeah, because I see SARS-CoV-2 detected. People already got their shots from, I'm not sure which one, either Moderna or Pfizer. And then I'm not sure people got boosters. So now what, people have to get more booster shots for this new detected?
Well, they're recommending it. I mean, no immunization is gonna, its effects are gonna eventually peter off as time goes on. That's hence what a booster is for.
I've heard,
but it's your choice.
Okay.
I don't think our country. I think some employers have mandated it, but it's still your choice.
Okay. Look, I've heard that even these three so-called shots, that from what I'm hearing now, that it damaged the whole immune system completely. That's what I'm hearing that's flowing around. The those who took it, like this is some results. I'm not sure how accurate this is, but that's what I'm hearing right now.
Okay, so chaos, we got to be careful about
conspiracy theories.
Those assertions.
No, I'm saying if you heard about it.
That's I heard about that. I have not heard that.
Okay.
Herb?
Hey, well, this is the thing that's intriguing me most is despite the spread, you hear a lot about taking the various shots, whether it's in 2 or 3 with the booster. Why are they not focusing on nutrition?
Oh, that's a good question. Excellent question. I forgot about that.
Well, I don't have an answer for that. I mean, I mean, one of the easy answers is economics. If this thing could be a cash cow ultimately.
Well, I think it is. You look at all the money that the federal government is pumping into, well, certainly research. With mRNA being that this is probably the next frontier in terms of what they're considering now inoculation, and the fact that we're running into bacteria that are resistant to the antibiotics we have. I mean, so this conceivably can be what we're looking at going into, the 21st century as far as medical technology goes and fighting infectious disease. So it's just, for me, it's, I've always tried and pride myself on being healthy, especially living in the northern climate where when the temperatures drop, the flu and other types of viruses of that nature become more prevalent. So I'm always, thinking about that. And I work with the public, so I'm always around people handling cash and doing various transactions. So that's always at the forefront. When I go to sneeze, I'll sneeze appropriately. I never touch the anywhere on my head with the front of my hand. I always use the back, because rarely are you handling cash, credit cards, identifications with the back of your hand. So that's one of the ways that I always try and, keep conscious of doing it. For me, it's worked out well. I've never gotten the flu shot. I've had 2 coworkers that have tested positive for COVID. They quarantined for their respective days, and they're back. So I consider myself to be lucky, but I also make sure that I really am not out in the public. So if I have to do shopping, I'm masked up, I'm in, and I'm out. Nobody's in and out of my house, and I'm kind of blessed in that manner. So I tell people, at the end of my shows, mask up, glove up, don't touch your face. Be careful of other surfaces you're touching and shaking hands or whatever the case is you're doing with other people, because you don't know where they've been and the people that they've been. It's almost like, the one, each one, I can't remember how to properly term it, how to properly phrase it, but if an individual, it's almost like person one becomes a spreader and everybody that they come in contact with becomes a multiplier. So I'm always cognizant of that, especially when I'm working in the industry I am, and then people coming from all over different parts of the world, because I'm dealing with people that come from as far away as Russia. So I'm always cognizant of those things. But I like I said, for me, nutrition is pretty much where it starts at. And I would tell everybody, chicken soup, orange juice, make sure you're getting rested. And for people living in northern climates where you don't have the sunshine, make sure you're getting your vitamin D, whether you get it from food or you get it from pills. That's necessary to keep that immune system from being suppressed.
Okay.
Somebody wrote about in the comment section about this thing about Congress. I'm not sure anybody can verify that.
Yes, they're not. Congress is not. That's the irony of the mandate that Biden is putting through. And for those of you who don't know, the mandate is this: for any business that has over 100 employees, all those employees must take the shot. Congress is exempt from it. Congress is exempt from it.
So that tells you they're running game on y'all. I mean, on people mostly, because this thing should be serious. Everybody should be compliant. I find ironic why they're avoiding this.
I mean, that's the information I have according to all the things that I've read and seen. There was a legislation or a lawsuit to set aside the Biden mandate, and now the Supreme Court has said they're going to allow that to stand. So, you figure the time period we're living in. We've gone from analog to digital, from space travel. It's we're seeing so much that it's almost wonderment to see how all this is transforming and evolving. And Gen X people, we're in that sphere, so we can see all this. The funny thing about the time period that most of us was born in is we're born in a group, and I know this is probably secondary to what you're covering, Dr. Dunbar. If you're fortunate enough to live long enough, you'll be one of a group of people that actually can live to see Halley's Comet twice. Just figured I'd throw that out there.
Okay. Interesting.
Okay, well, I appreciate that, Herb.
I know a lot of people got silent. I mean, no other takers, man. This is a serious discussion. I mean, at times I don't talk about on my channel because of the type of this, because they're trying to promote and push this, and they want nobody giving no opposition. So I get it. That's why I stay away from certain conversations.
Yeah, and I'm being very careful.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't want this channel removed again. But I just want to come up, and I have time, so I was supposed to be out of here. I just thought, I don't know. I've never gotten a positive test back before, so I thought it'd be cool to just to talk about it. I'm still here.
Okay.
I'm still alive. So,
okay.
But I did get ill last weekend.
Okay. Well, at least you didn't get. Well, I'm not sure if you got your own shots or you're avoiding it as well, Dr. Dunbar. But like I said, oh yeah, you want to say something? I don't know if you want.
No. I've been open. That I got the J&J back in May. And
wonderful. You took the traditional. That's something that, if anything, I will look to either that or the other one. Kind of, I like.
Okay, no. Be careful, because this is
okay.
That's what they removed back in spring.
Oh God, man.
chaos.
Yeah.
Hey, man, I don't know if you know what it's like having a channel removed.
Okay.
It's happened to
Yeah,
Roger. All your data goes away. So
yeah.
Okay.
So just
that's why a lot of people back up. But it's funny like that, man. Because that's one of the things that we're going to cover on our show is censorship, and it's people getting channels removed, platforms demonetized. A lot of people put a lot of work into getting their platforms up, making their brands, and to have a channel pulled because somebody doesn't agree with it or somebody's reporting your content is malicious. I just think that's underhanded, man. I really do, and it chased my ass when it happens. When, like you said, Dr. Dunbar, when you got the channel pulled, I was like, for what? So I was just like, this is just utterly insane, man. It really is.
No, but you got to understand, you're in somebody else's house, and there are rules. And if you don't abide by rules, I take you down. It's that simple. And then you have to fight tooth and nail to get what's back. And normally 9 tenths of the time, they won't, obligate to give it back. You get me? Because, like I said, like the guys right in the chat room, yeah, it is. You're not supposed to think, thinking is not allowed in open forums overall. You get me? Those had to be behind closed doors. And remember, this is a business. It's a business. You gotta keep
right.
This the business side of things.
I don't have a problem with rules. What I do have a problem with is rules that are being applied arbitrarily, and that's a lot of what Facebook does. And I would hate to see what Facebook does being brought over to YouTube, because once you start doing things arbitrarily, and everything's great, you say, well, and Dr. Dunbar's talking about this now. How do you know what you're permitted to say and what you have to censor yourself from saying? Because if somebody else is left to censor you, but their criteria is for this way from one individual and this way for another individual, then you're creating a situation that's imbalanced, and that's just highly unfair. If it's going to be one way, make it one way. Spell it out in the agreement so an individual knows.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I like what Shonda said. And let's be honest, the people that understand code, if we want to go there, are people that have the capability to think. Majority of people in society don't think. They follow. If that was the case, people would question everything they see or hear. You can't have that, So I'm saying I understand the code thing. Code is cool, but that's for people that is using thinking, common sense, and majority of Americans are not using that enough. So one thing I would say, I leave the code on. Just don't even talk about it all. Let them figure it out. Let them.
Well, you notice,
man. Oh yeah.
I was gonna say, you notice I try not to say the V word. I was using immunization instead of the V word. So
it's the reason word shot problem. A shot.
Yeah, that's what I use.
Most people are using jab now.
Oh my God.
It has somebody tuning in, think they're talking about a boxing match.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Actually, a jab makes a little better sense because you get a nice little jab. But that's kind of simple if you think about it. That's the best code you could say. I'm getting. Actually, I like to deal with a jab, please. You're welcome. Yeah, and I see Sean. Yeah, she's right. It's true. Great point, brother. Yes, because I look at that, this system cannot uphold if you have population that's thinking. You're supposed to be perpetual consumers. Look at the school system now. You hear about Dr. Bar in certain states where now they're not even grading people's tests. They're not giving tests now, and that's in
Is that
state.
right?
Yes.
Oregon. That's one state.
Yes, I heard that.
Now, mind you, there was a movie that talked about one dude that was smarter than everybody else. I think it's in America or the world. And this is the process you've seen of the dumbing down of the human race slowly. In the West, they started off the West first. Once it's successful, they definitely don't branch out outside the West because they have made a conscious decision. How can I make money off of population people if they're able to not be coerced to be perpetual consumers? is not in my best interest. And the people that consume the most is women. Yikes.
Hey, Chaos, you're like breaking up just a little bit.
Okay. I'm breaking up. Sound good? Mike's good? Okay.
Oh,
so someone said
okay, that's better.
Kids. Someone said that's an insult to the kids. It is, but like I said, you have to work and you got to put your children into institutions that you trust to hope to educate your kids. And if you're banking on this now, after hearing this information, it makes as a parent, you're going to do a little bit more work, especially having children. You can't be complacent in regards to of the education now. You get me? I noticed, and Dr. Dunbar, when there was No Child Left Behind Act back over 20 years ago, they used to pass by kids that were proven to pass through grade level. I think one time in DC, this year they said they said that the GPA of the whole student body was under D. So it was under D in DC area. What does that say about other school systems when it comes to us as people? Our boys not learning at all. And it makes sense why when we look at the literacy rate, it adds up to the graduation rates. Especially in this highly advanced society we're in now, technical age. So that's something to think about. And she writes at Dr. Dunbar, if I may ask, are you seeing people having trouble getting tested in NYC or your area? There are 2 to 4 hours waiting times for testing here in Texas and part of Louisiana. That's a good question.
Okay, I had to wait because there was a phone call coming in on my mother's phone. You know what, Shonda, I don't know. I got into New York State maybe about 2.5 weeks ago, and I only became concerned about getting tested like 2 days ago. But I as I told you, those kits are all off the shelves, but people are going to public locations to get tested. Like I went to the drive-up joint. There were a lot of people out there doing that, and I just saw on the news there are people going and standing in lines in certain jurisdictions to do that. So I think it depends.
Yeah, I can actually give a little bit of more information on that. My plans for my birthday, which was back in December 10th, was to actually go to Toronto. What they're doing in Canada is they're mandating that if you're going to be over there for a certain period of time, that you have to have a PCR test in addition to the jab. So what you have is a lot of people that are coming, in addition to the people in the local area, which is quite a bit, that are trying to get into Canada. And in order to do that, you have to have that test. So what it's doing is it's causing an artificial shortage in the test kits that Dr. Dunbar is talking about. So just for my situation, I needed to have it 3 days prior, and I couldn't get in to get scheduled. Never mind get a test, because the over-the-counter tests, they won't take at the border. So you have a lot of people, and because of the prices that they're charging, some people are just willing to pay because they're only here to visit from out of town. So they don't have a problem paying $65, $75, upwards of $150 for the particular test just to go into Canada because they're here on vacation, so they don't care, which causes a shortage for people who are actually trying to go over there to see family members and friends, because this has been going on for 2 years, and they just opened up the border for Americans to travel into Canada about 2, maybe 3 months. No, about 4, maybe 5 months ago. But then the only thing you had to have was proof that you've actually been brought up to date with the necessary medication. So it's really causing a logjam in this area just to get into Canada, and for people just to get tested locally, unless you're going to a hospital or something of that nature.
So Herb, that's what's causing the backup in test kits here.
Yeah, that's why you put one. Yep. I was not happy. I had my birthday all planned out, man. Had my connections up there, and it fell through. I was not happy.
Okay. That's interesting. That's very interesting. That's interesting. So you're back at the your home state, Dr. Dunbar?
No, I'm still up in Western New York.
Oh, it's okay. Western Europe. Okay.
Yeah, I'm still up in the Buffalo area.
Just so people can get I'm going to try and paint a picture for people that don't understand quite what Dr. Dunbar is talking about in terms of the Western New York area. If you look at a map of the United States and you look at the West Coast, the western edge of Lake Ontario and the eastern edge of Lake Erie, you'll see a very thin line that connects those two lakes. That's the Niagara River. To the east of that is Western New York.
Okay.
Yeah. Our state is a very lovely state, and it's very big. I mean, it's not big. It's not as big as Texas or California or Alaska, but it goes from the Great Lakes down to the ocean, and then we got the mountains up near Canada. So it's a big state.
Yeah, number fourth in the country. I think it's fourth or fifth in the country. Alaska, Texas, California, and I think either us or Florida comes next.
Okay. So Herb, let's see, we're at an hour and 12 minutes. Are Canadians looking to actively come down here?
Well, that's the kicker. All they need is proof of the immunization, and they can come over. They don't need the PCR test.
Okay. So the standards are less
Yes.
Stringent for them.
Yes. Which really fuels the anger and the angst with trying to get tests over here so you can actually go over there. Trudeau is not up for that mandate. He is not.
I'm looking for
the Canadian Prime Minister, just to put that out there.
Oh, Trudeau?
Yes.
So he's the one setting that policy.
Correct.
Okay, so he's making it harder on us than we're making it on them.
Because the other thing is, and for people that don't know about Canada in and of itself, Toronto is Canada's largest city. Toronto is literally an hour drive from the Buffalo, Western New York area. So you get a lot of people that stop there first. And with Pearson International Airport bringing in people from overseas, they're really trying to get a hold on anything that can come in. So they're having people checked at Pearson. They're having people check at, this area has 3 international spans. There's one in Buffalo at the Peace Bridge, and then there's 2 in Niagara Falls, New York. Well, actually, I'm sorry. Just 2 in Niagara Falls, New York. One is actually restricted. You actually have to have special clearance to travel across that one. Then there's one in Lewis and Queenston, which is about 10 miles northeast of Niagara Falls. So they're really trying to get a grapple on this because Toronto had its own issues similar to what New York City did when everything first started cropping up. So they're really, I mean, I understand. I just don't like it just because of all the red tape you have to jump through. Because for me, going to Canada is like going in my backyard. I'm literally a 15-minute walk from Canada. So I mean, I remember summer days as a kid, we just go over there with a dime because also you need to get to the turnstile, and we were on Clifton Hill. I mean, I can sit in my backyard and hear the roar of the falls. I can walk down the street, and at night I can see right into Canada. That's how close we are.
Okay, I'm pulling up 2 pictures here. Herb, you want to keep talking or chaos?
Yeah. Oh yeah. So
just to end this off, this is a science.
Go ahead.
Go for it.
Yeah. So I mean, when they call this a global pandemic, it really is a global pandemic. It brings to mind the quatrains that Nostradamus used to that he wrote about, and people never really thought a whole lot of this until certain things start to fall into place, and then everybody wants to make revisionists when it comes to history and say, well, this was talked about and this was talked about. So you start to look at all these things, you say, you know what, this is kind of eerie. So it's kind of funny how all this stuff is just really just kind of sliding into place. Like I said, we're living in a technological period where all this stuff is starting to come together. And for people that are scientifically inclined, they like this type of stuff. For them, it's a bastion of information, and they're glued to this. They're watching this. They're looking at this, and they're saying, "Look, I'm not into conspiracy theories, so I'm just going to pay attention to what this is doing and what this is doing and how this is going to affect this. And like I said, the mRNA, it's the next frontier. Because if bacteria is going to continue to develop a resistance against antibiotics, then what are we going to do as humans? Because that's the first line of defense for most people when they get something like a staph infection or something of that nature. Doctor just gives you antibiotics. So what do you do now when the antibiotic doesn't work, and all of a sudden now things that were dismissed are now the leading cause of death? Think about how often we hear about somebody dying from cholera. You don't hear about that. Somebody dying from chickenpox, or they may get shingles when they're older. You don't hear about that particular stuff because modern medicine has advanced to the point that that's not even consideration. So, like I said, it's definitely a precarious time we're living in for humans. So, I don't know.
Well, the antibiotic resistance. Yeah, they've been talking about that for years. I just don't know what else what other tool is available to treat for bacteria. But that's been talked about. I remember one of my undergraduate professors talking about that back in the 90s. So that's always an issue.
Interesting.
Herb talked about the PCR and the antigen test. So I just want to show two pictures since this is a science channel.
Is that for the nose or the mouth?
Sorry?
Is it used for the nose or the mouth? The swab for the PCR, the test, the kit.
Well, Chaos. There are two different methods of detection. So what happens is when there's a lot going on here, but when you do PCR, it stands for polymerase chain reaction. And basically, in this instance, what you're doing is you're acquiring an RNA sample, ribonucleic acid, and then using this technique, you can create DNA strands from it that are, and those DNA strands will tell you if the virus is present or it's not. So I think this takes more time, but I think the reason Canada is being so meticulous over this is I think it's probably considered a more reliable method than the antigen test. So the antigen test, this is a picture of an antigen. That's your protein right there in the middle. That's gold. And then you have two antibodies. And those antibodies basically recognize certain sequences on that protein. So the antigen test, what it must do, they swab your nose, they put it in a little reagent that must create particles of this antigen. And once it goes into the matrix in the kit changes color, and you get that line. You get those lines. You get your control. I think I have that picture queued up. You get your control and then your sample. I don't have it queued up.
Okay.
But I think the PCR, it takes more time, but it's more conclusive.
Okay. I think what it give you like 24 hours or 12, 13 hours. I'm not sure what's the average test. I remember when I get tested, it usually go the swab in the nose. So I'm not sure if they use, like you said before, that type of testing.
Yeah,
not like back when the first outbreak came out. They was like push all the way up in your brain, and they push the kids all the way up in there and puncturing. Yeah.
Yesterday they didn't do that. They just stayed around kind of the middle.
Yeah, because they found out with the damage in certain people's nostrils doing that. Cause they be going up there because they need to try and get some, to swab up. So I was scared of that, at the time. I said, no, I don't want that. I'm putting in there, puncture my brain. Ooh.
Yeah. Okay, gentlemen, we're at an hour 20 minutes. I think I think that's about it.
Okay.
You guys want to say anything else?
No, man. I just came in just to chime in a little bit. Nothing much. I asked my question. I think my question was answered as safe as possible because you know how they're watching and they check and say, "Oh, Mr. Dunbar, I hope you're not." And I said, "This is education. This is science, mind you. This is not something. This is only for science. This is a learning channel, so people don't have no fear. They want to learn about it. He's showing pictures. He explains, so he's not gonna say." Do what you're supposed to do, but he's trying to explain so people feel comfortable. in every decision they make. You get me?
Yeah.
We don't want by going there behind. So yeah.
I'll read a few more of these comments. Shonda says to at Clark S, I'm in the greater H-Town area and the wait times are going up. The medical group I work for has nearly has to have okay. The medical group I work for has nearly half of our staff right now in all our clinics due to COVID-19 results and exposure.
Man.
Grandma says, but you can order a free test in January. Watch that not happen. Trust Divine Mercy says, it seems 30% of all the NFL tested positive, but they don't get sick. Yeah, I mean, there are asymptomatic people. Before this, I probably came in contact with the virus, but, there are people who aren't going to show anything. Grandma says, I think a lot of people won't even know if they have it. That's right. 40% no symptoms I've seen in research from Dr. Campbell. That's why getting a positive back, it's because of what we see on TV, it's very like spectacular and emotional, like, oh my God, I'm positive, but then you think, okay, well, what does that actually mean? Does that mean I'm about to kill over and die? Does that mean if I touch someone, they're going to die? Not necessarily.
All fear-based, man.
So there is a level of sensationalization of what's happening.
Yeah. And you might have to sit out for 2 weeks, to recover, possibly.
Yeah. Grandma says, great stream. Good stream. Thank you. Yeah. Gentlemen, you want to say anything else?
No. I said my piece. Thank you, Dr. Dunbar. I mean, herd immunity to me. That's what she wrote in the comment. But yeah, that's all Mom say. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Chaos. Yeah. Herb?
Nope. I'm going to go drop those stats on that Michigan live stream so we can get a look at it. And hopefully I am up. Usually that's my bedtime, but I think I'll make it a point to get up and watch my boys roll.
Okay. Yeah, man. That's my silver lining. I still got that. So I'll be front and center tomorrow at 7:00. I'll be watching the Bama game too, but I'll be front and center to see number 2 versus number 3.
That Bama game is going to be interesting. And I think Cincinnati has a shot as long as they can weather Bama's running attack. If they can't, it's going to be a long night.
Okay.
Hey, you think your team, Michigan, is going to go all the way, potentially?
I believe.
Well, here's the thing: if we beat Georgia, we have a chance to beat Georgia.
Okay.
Then you still got to beat the bully on the block, and they've got that Bryce Young, and he's good. He's good.
Okay. All right. We shall see. Always when you're rooting for your team, you're hoping every year they can kill it. And say we got the possibility, and you say, I gotta be honest. Every time you say chaos, gotta be honest. Team don't look like they're gonna make it, man. You know what I'm saying? Just by look at the odds. But like I said, I gotta be optimistic. All it takes is one fumble on the other side to get us in there. It's gonna take grace, luck, and some hell of work to go through that team. So.
All right. Well, all right, everyone. I just wanted to make this stream. I had nothing but time, so I thought I'd come up and talk about why I'm still in Buffalo. And I thought I'd be transparent and say that I received a SARS-CoV-2 detected. So, but I think I'm on the back end of what I was feeling on Saturday. I think I'm going to try to drive back to the DMV, so I'm not on a train or an airplane with other people right now. So I think this will be the last stream on this channel for 2021. So thank everyone who supported the channel in 2021. And I'll see you on the other side in 2022. So Happy New Year, everyone. Enjoy your December 31st and your January 1st. Please like, share, and subscribe. If you're watching on the playback, and you want to make a donation to the channel, that information is below. Stay safe, everyone. And as always, remember that your attitude determines your altitude. Take care. I'll talk to you the next time. Bye-bye. All right.